Welcome back to episode 5 of Two Gay Dads, the holiday edition. How are you today, Nate?
Not doing bad. How about you, Love?
I'm great. Welcome back from Washington, D.C. It's good to do this in the same space as you this week.
It's good to be home. And what the heck are you wearing?
I am wearing, for those who are only listening and not watching on YouTube, I am wearing my Golfing Santa Christmas sweater because,
It's tacky.
of course, it's tacky. It's an ugly Christmas sweater.
It's tacky.
At least I'm in the spirit, Mr. McScrooge.
The name of the show is Two Gay Dads, and frankly, as a gay man, I think you can do better.
I think as a gay man, I'm wearing an ugly Christmas sweater and I would win any contest. And that's what this sweater was bought for. And at least I'm dressed for the season.
Anyway, this week's pod, Christmas is later this week, so we're talking about the holidays, our traditions, what's on our Twit list for Lizzy this year, and how we handle Santa in our house, holiday movies, what we're watching, and the perils of watching those terrible movies alone.
You shouldn't do it.
And finally,
They should come with a Surgeon General's warning not to watch them alone.
we'll get there. And finally, this week in the Gay Agenda. So, this is Two Gay Dads. Let's get into it.
We need to do a little disclaimer. We're going to be talking about Santa for a little bit here. So if you've got believer ears or eyes listening or watching with you, now would be a good time to make them go clean their room.
Good luck with that.
So, Nate, what are some of our traditions when it comes to being gay parents and decorating and the holidays and how we do things with Lizzy?
I think the first one, and this is because we work in politics in our day jobs, we decorate on Election Day. And that's super early by most people's standards. But we decorate early because it's our distraction on Election Day. And sometimes those elections are nail biters, and we need to distract ourselves from it.
Absolutely. And we did have a listener actually reach out to us via Instagram and ask for more details about what we did. And we're not going to give the name of our employer, but we're going to give you a little more hints here. And to answer your question, no, we're not lawyers, although you used to be a paralegal.
That's true. Which means anything that could possibly come near to legal advice is just coincidental.
Just coincidental. You know, I love that we decorate our house on Election Day. It is a great way to pass the time, right? And it allows us to get the anxiety of the day out in something that's fun and festive. And we always start watching usually what show?
Downton Abbey, although we haven't started yet this year.
We have not. We did it like a midsummer watch this year too. I feel like that kind of threw us off. But normally we put on episode 1 of Downton Abbey while we decorate for Christmas. We mentioned that in I think our very first podcast was one of the shows that we love to watch year in and year out. And now we just kind of have it on in the background sometimes.
This is true, but here's where we have the divide. We believe in very classy decorating, and if you do outside a wreath with lights on it. Jason has a different interpretation of how this should work entirely.
I do not.
Like his sweater, his taste is tacky.
This was bought for a holiday party that was ugly sweater themed, and I decided to wear it just to be festive for the podcast.
And so this somehow affects your desire to have those inflatable things in our yard?
I don't want those inflatables. When have I ever had an inflatable thing?
I don't know if we are not lawyers, but we may need one because he's lying through his teeth, and I will line up witnesses to this.
Okay,
So
line up one. There's a difference between walking by something in the store and saying, "Oh, that's a pretty cool inflatable," and actually putting them in my house. I would say, hold on, true confession here. Over the 16 years that you have beaten me down, I mean, been married to me, I would say that you have helped elevate my Christmas taste to the point where I might look at tacky things and think they're fun for someone else's house, but not for ours.
Jason gets to decorate the Christmas tree, and then I go behind him and fix it, and I do everything else.
You don't fix it. You don't even.
Did I not fix it this year?
We bought a bigger tree, so you bought more ornaments. That's not fixing it.
All right. Moving on, one of the other things that we like to do, and this is actually comes from my family tradition, we have an Advent wreath that we do during Advent as a family. And the wreath that we use is actually the one I grew up with. So it's super meaningful to me. And then we've also started including in what we put out at Christmas a menorah because we want Lizzie to grow up in an environment where, while we choose Christianity as our faith of choice, she is free to make that choice for her to believe or not believe in anything that she chooses. And we want to present her with a broader perspective. So we do that. We talk about Ramadan during Ramadan and other religions throughout the year. So that's one of the things that I appreciate that we do in our house.
Do like that we are raising our child to make her own decision around religion, and we're exposing her to our faith of choice. And when she's older, that will be a choice that she gets to make on her own, not a choice that we're going to make for her. And I think that that makes religion and your beliefs more authentic. They're your beliefs, not something that was handed to you. And we choose to have similar faith beliefs to the way that we were brought up. And if that's what Lizzie chooses, good. And if she chooses something different, that's okay too.
Absolutely. And I appreciate that. I think I probably have been more on that train than you have over the years, but I appreciate that you've embraced that and that we get to raise our girl that way because I think she'll be a more well rounded human for it.
You know, the one thing I'd love to know from our listeners out there, the couple hundred of you that listen every week, thank you for coming along on this adventure with us, being part of our community. If you haven't already, please make sure to, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. And feel free to reach out to us. We want you to be part of this community. But I'd love to know how your family traditions changed once you had a kid,
Ooh, that's a good question. I
right?
like
Because
that.
for us, for the first 10, 11 years we were together, we would do Thanksgiving with your family and Christmas with mine, and then the next year we'd switch. And when Lizzie was born, we kind of drew a line in the sand and said we will do Christmas at our house. Anyone and everyone is welcome, but we will do Christmas at our house. We want Lizzie to know that Santa's going to come down her chimney, going to leave presents and snacks and goodies for her in her house, and we just don't want to have to be rushed on Christmas Day. So I'd love to know, for all of the families out there, what is your Christmas Day like? And did your boundaries change once you had kids? Did they stay the same? Did you incorporate them? What was that? Because this is just kind of how we do it at our
Yep, I agree. The other one of the other ones I was thinking about was, and this is less like something that changed, but something that we do with Lizzie is uh, she gets to buy gifts for daddy, and I'll take her out and we buy something for daddy, and then daddy takes her out. I think she takes you out really, and she gets to buy Papa a Christmas gift, and I've enjoyed that. We try to keep the financial amounts like to 20, 20 to 20,
How'd
30
you do with
bucks.
that limit this year?
I blew the limit, and I'm pretty sure you did too.
You have no idea what we got you.
I'm pretty sure you blew the
I
limit.
mean, I blew the limit only because my truck got sideswiped while it was parked. I would like to say this: in this world that is crazy and sometimes unforgiving, the woman who accidentally hit my truck while it was parked, she stayed behind. She could have driven off. There was snow everywhere. I wouldn't have even noticed the damage. She waited for us to come out of the store that we were in when we were shopping for Papa's Christmas present. She was honest, and she's made the process easier. We're working through the insurance claim, but that is just a good story of a wonderful woman who will probably never listen to this podcast, but I do believe in karma, and she put a lot of good karma out in the universe by being honest and authentic, and so thank you to her for doing that, and I hope that good karma comes back her way as well.
And Lizzie got to meet a policeman and a police dog, and didn't she get a tour of the police car?
She did, yeah, she got to play with the lights and sirens of a Ludington police car. Thank you to Officer Sanders and his canine partner, Bella, for making our kiddos' day. One of our traditions when Daddy and Lizzie go Christmas shopping is we go to this little ice cream house here in Ludington called House of Flavors. If you ever find yourself in Ludington, it is amazing. You should absolutely go there for sure. They make all their own ice cream at a factory just not far from town. It's great. We always go there for ice cream sundae that we share together. We weren't able to make it this year because of the delay, because of having to call the police. He certainly made it up to her and made a little 5-year-old's day.
And then one of the I think the last traditions that is church. We have turned into full blown CNE Christians, and I don't even think we did E this year. But we do try to go to church on Christmas, and we really, when the move finally happens, that is something we want to change. Is getting back into that church more regularly, and raising Lizzie in our faith tradition.
Absolutely. So, speaking of Lizzie, what has she been asking for this year, Papa, besides a puppy?
Okay, so we actually have a puppy. There's a Read any of the blogs, they will tell you if you tell your child that you're moving, they will ask for a puppy. And I thought, "That's kinda crazy, that can't be." Sure as can be, as soon as we told Lizzie we were moving, she saw a weak moment and asked us for a puppy, but she's not getting a puppy. But we do
So,
have
what is she getting, Papa?
we have a note in our, on our Apple phones, and we keep track of all the things that we talked to her about throughout the year. So then that way, when it comes to Christmas, it's easier to remember what we talked about because I've come to realize she now remembers everything. And so I can't say, yeah, sure, okay, and then walk away and not get it. And then she'll remember it. Not that she's spoiled. She'll just remember later, hey, remember I asked for that thing? No, but
Out of the
okay.
blue, too, out of the blue. Like, remember this thing I randomly pointed at Meyer 15 months ago? Yeah, I want that still. I didn't even remember that you asked for that.
But I think this year we aren't going crazy. One
Well,
of the, I mean, she's an only child. What do you want from me? We are doing a Disney cruise too, so
that
that's a
yeah, that
huge chunk
that's
of it.
that is the reference that I was making. Our second Disney cruise, it's gonna be not till the end of May, so, don't worry, we'll still be producing our episodes every week for you all. End of May to help celebrate the end of Lizzie's first year of kindergarten and advancement to first grade, and, to celebrate a move, it's something for us to look forward to. There's a lot we are looking forward to with the move, and there's a lot in Ludington that we are absolutely going to miss. And so this is that fun family vacation that based on how amazing the cruise was we went on last year was, we can't wait to hit the Disney fantasy ship and enjoy that time as a family.
And we did last year we didn't do it. This year we got the magnets for the door because if any of you are Disney cruisers, that's a thing. So we have the magnets for the door. We're gonna put them on the fridge. That's how we're gonna tell her we're gonna go on a cruise. And one of the other things I picked out, and this wasn't really on our list, but she is still getting used to sleeping in a dark room, and she has Christmas lights up right now, so that she's loving that. But those are gonna come down. So one of the things we got her was a star projector that I'm kind of excited for her to have on the ceiling when she after Christmas.
Yeah, and then, ever since the first Wicked came out, Wicked and then Wicked for Good, I was forgetting what the name of the first one was. Loved the movies, by the way. Still impressed that they made a 3-hour musical into 6 hours worth of movies, and I wasn't bored. I love musicals, and I loved it. They did a fantastic job, but Lizzie is obsessed. She's also obsessed with saying the word obsessed right now,
And
right?
dude,
And dude, well, that's Full House. That's still on you. So this year, daddy's present to her was I got her the Elphaba and Glinda Barbie dolls for her to be able to play with. She's old enough for them now, and I hope she's really gonna like them because Barbie's gotten expensive.
as she has, she's got to finance all those divorces from Ken and all the Kens.
Gay Ken. Wait, we all agree that Ken is gay, right? Like, Ken is just Barbie's gay best friend?
Well, unless you watch the movie, in which case it's is it Ryan Gosling? But woof.
Movie schmovie, they're just being heteronormative. I think Ken is Barbie's gay best friend.
Anyway, and we are one of the other things we bought her this year is we her first piece of original art. We've been collecting some pieces from local artists before we move, and one of them will go in her rooms. I think it's a
I
what
forgot
is it?
about
Is it a
that.
unicorn?
It is a unicorn, yeah, we bought it at the Pentwater Art Fair.
So, but then there's Santa, and that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, so in our house, the way we like to do Santa is Santa does the little gifts. So Santa is the one who stuffs the stockings. We both have some family traditions that we use in our stockers. My family tradition, ever as long as I can remember, my parents got, and they're only available at the during the holiday season, those big books of uh
Lifesavers.
Lifesavers, thank you, I don't know
And they
why.
cost a fortune.
They do cost it, but there's lifesavers and rolls of lifesavers in there that you can only get at the holiday time. Like, they've got whole rolls of just green lifesavers, which are my favorite, and you only can get those as part of this book at the holiday season. So as long as I remember, I always had those lifesaver books in my stocking, and so that is a tradition we have now passed on to Lizzie. So there will be the lifesavers in all of our stockings. What about yours, Nate?
Tic Tacs. We always did the orange ones at Christmas for some reason. So those are always in there. And then I don't know, you said this wasn't a tradition of your families, but I thought it was, but we get socks. So we buy like
I think we made that up for ourselves.
the insulated house socks. So those are always like a good one for Santa to give. And then I haven't figured it out yet. We're gonna have to kind of pull everything out and figure out what's gonna come from Santa and what's gonna come from us. Like Jason said, we try to do the small stuff because we don't want Lizzie to go to school and be like, "Hey, my Santa brought me an iPad," and the kid who got socks is like, "Well, Santa must not love me." So, in the spirit of equity, we try to keep it pretty low key from Santa. And besides, I work my butt off all year. You work your butt off. We travel. It's time away. I want credit. Sorry,
Darn right.
disagree with me if you want. I want credit for the big gifts.
You know I'm always down for disagreeing with you, but this is one time that I won't, so maybe we should write this date down.
Well, I'll add it to the list.
So, Nate, how old were you when you found out that there was no Santa?
Oh gosh, I maybe around 10,
Wow,
maybe
you made it
younger.
late.
I maybe younger than that. I remember where my sister and I used to like I do with Lizzie, and I've talked about it on the show. We used to kind of make a nest in front of the fireplace, and we'd dad would close the doors, and we'd fall asleep there, and it was just kind of a family and tradition. I remember that's where my mom and my sister, my dad was on the computer or something. My mom and my sister told me that Santa wasn't real. So I remember that. For years, we had a dear great aunt who lived like a couple hours away, and she always had the quirkiest thing of calling on Christmas Eve right before we left for church. Come to find out, as an adult, or not really an adult, after I learned that Santa wasn't real, that's when mom would put out the gifts. And then after that, we still did the Santa thing, but we took turns as a family to find one of us that was assigned that year would find a reason to go and, "Oh, I forgot to put socks on my under my dress shoes," and then we'd go in and do Santa. So it was kind of fun because we still kept the tradition alive, we just did it as a family. And I grew up in a German tradition, so we did gifts from my parents and Santa on Christmas Eve. Well, that's not the German tradition, it's not
Was
the
the
tradition
night
I grew up
before
with.
Christmas and all through the house.
Maybe that's
Not
the
a
way they do
creature
it.
was stirring, not even a
Maybe
mouse.
that's the way they do it in the Swedish
There's
tradition,
a
I don't know.
whole book the night before Christmas is about while you're sleeping.
I'm gonna get in a habit of doing this. Anyway,
No, not anyway. I think I was young. I was I think in 1st or 2nd grade when my parents told me, and they told me my mom, God love her, sometimes timing isn't something she always does well. And so it was like right after we had Christmas, and she looks at my father, she's like, "Should we tell him?" My dad's like, "Tell him what?" He's like, "Who Santa is." And I'm like, "Who's Santa?" And, my dad's like, "Mommy and daddy are Santa. Santa isn't real." And my reaction was to get up, go sit on my dad's lap and say, "Well, next year I want a Super Nintendo."
that tracks.
I mean, I found out who Santa was. So I went and sat on Santa's lap, right, and said, "Hey, if I'm a good kid next year, I want a Super Nintendo."
I wanna talk about holiday movies. I've been excited about this segment for, like, weeks, and because I think that there is something both special and, I don't wanna say sad, but disappointing about the Christmas movies.
We do love
Oh, we love
watching
them.
we love them.
We subscribed this year to Hallmark on Amazon just so that we can watch them, and, I
And the
like
the moment listen, we're not celebrities, so we're not comparing our status to these actors, but there's always that moment in Christmas movies where it feels like you watch the soul leave their body when they realize that they are gonna act in Hallmark Christmas
that
movies,
this
and
is what their careers come
this
to.
is what they're still gonna make more money than we ever will in life, so, kudos to you, but, hey, they are formulaic and terrible, and I love
Listen, I decided to take my first. Apparently, creativity is running amok in our household right now. I decided to write a book. I decided to write a romance book, and I've also come to realize that
Does
the
it have gay
formula is
werewolf
always the same.
does it have gay werewolves in it?
It does not. Although I did just start reading a series about werewolves that takes place in Luddington, which I think is really cool.
So, do you think that these holiday movies, bringing us back to this segment you're so, so, so excited about, do you think that they're bad intentionally?
I don't know. I think that there's a bit of irony in them. And when you if you catch it on, is it Hallmark, that it's Finding Mr. Christmas with Jonathan Bennett, you kind of have to wonder, like, is there a shtick here? Is the campiness intentional?
100 I don't know if it was originally intentional, but I think they lean into it now. Right? Because it's, ooh, boy meets girl, or, less now, but occasionally you'll find an LGBTQ one, boy meets boy or girl meets girl, or, right? Occasionally you can find those, although they are declining rapidly, as we talked about last week. But person meets person, right? They fall in love, something predictable happens, and now there's conflict, and now someone's gonna leave, and then we're gonna go chasing after the airplane down the runway and make a dramatic scene, and then we're all gonna live happily ever after. I mean, they're happy, they're fun, they're kitschy, right? But I think they've just leaned into it.
I'm telling you, it's the same formula from romance books. I think that they're like part of the campiness is that they just write them like romance books.
I I think you are absolutely right. So, when I was traveling, you decided to watch, or no, were you in DC? You watched one alone, right?
No, you were traveling, and I watched, oh my goodness, what was it? It was,
Doesn't
and
matter.
I'm blanking on the name. It wasn't like, it wasn't terrible, but the jokes wrote themselves, and I had nobody to tell them to, and it was absolute torture.
Well, that's one of the things there are some movies when we watch where we're like, engrossed and focused, and we just are listening to the movie and trying to pay attention. Christmas movies, we talk through them and we actively make jokes about them during the show. So you were just making jokes to the sofa, I guess.
Apparently, yeah, it was, yeah, it's oof. I did watch a couple other ones that week that weren't quite like, but that one I really missed having you at home.
All right.
We do have some must watches
No,
for our house.
let's make this a game.
Okay.
Just the idea just popped into my head. Let's make this a game. I'm going to give you the name of a Christmas movie,
Okay.
and you'll say whether it's must watch, whether it's something, we try to watch every year, so we're kind of consistently watching it, or it's and
Okay.
then we'll see if we agree.
Let's go.
Okay. The Holiday.
Must watch.
Absolutely must watch. Why?
I just love it, and I also really love, I can't remember the name of the character, but her house in California. I know everybody loves the house in England, it's cute. I wanted the house in California. No, that's
Of,
a must watch.
of course, but you don't like the mega modern styles. You like the traditional
I
kitschy.
don't think yours is mega modern. It's early '90s, it's got books. I love it. I want that
You
house.
got a gajillion DVDs because that was still a
Well,
thing.
that was a thing.
Okay. Christmas in Rome.
Like Christmas in Rome, we just watched it.
You're wrong. It's great. Maybe it's because I really like Rome and we've been privileged enough to be able to go there, but seeing Rome, even if it was probably filmed in July, so decorated for the holidays, makes me want to go back to Rome for the holidays. It also makes me miss the food, right? The story followed the formula, right? Wasn't overly acted, although I did think that the two lead characters did not have any chemistry.
See, I would trade Heidelberg Holiday for that every day of the week.
Oh, that's it. Yeah.
See, you didn't watch it though, so
I watched enough.
I like Heidelberg. I also think the guy is much cuter, and see, this. Be prepared. There's going to be a lot of objectification in this. I'm going to objectify some guys because listen, cute guys in Christmas movies are where it's at
Isn't that why we watch?
most of the time. What else?
Holiday in the Wild
Um,
with Rob
consistently watch.
Lowe.
We should watch that every year. I just think it's a cute movie, and I love what's her name from Sex and the City.
Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't remember who was in that.
It's
Doesn't matter.
moving
On.
on.
Single all the way.
Must watch.
Why?
Well, first of all, Philemon Chambers is freaking adorable. Luke McFarlane, Steve Lund, Michael Urie. Oof, it's just delicious.
Absolutely. Got another one from our list here. Let's go Merry Xmas.
I'm trying to remember Merry Xmas. That was consistently watched.
If you can't remember it, is it really a consistently watched?
No, because I vaguely
That's where
I remember the impression of it. I just can't
the
remember
exes
this.
get together, right? With their new beaux, and then they end up back together. It's the Merry Xmas. What about a Biltmore Christmas? And
Meh. We've been to the Biltmore. Fantastic place. You
it
should
was not.
definitely
It
go if
doesn't
you're
feel
ever
like
in
it was filmed at the
Asheville, but
Biltmore. Maybe it
it
was.
was, but I wasn't a fan. There was a magical element to it that I thought was a little overplayed.
Well, Home Alone and Home Alone 2.
Must watch, especially for Lizzie because she gets a kick out of the the end, like that
The
last
booby trap
third of the booby
houses.
trap.
Oh my gosh, listen, she also said the other day that she thought Marv was handsome. I
I
don't
have concerns.
I have I have concerns too. We did Nathan made a joke actually this morning during breakfast with Lizzie about she said a line and it was a Joe Pesci line, but she's like, "Who's Joe Pesci?" I'm like, "That's the bad guy from Home Alone that gets his head on fire all the time." And she just laughed and asked to watch Home Alone again. That is. I don't think we had watched it till last year. Or at least I hadn't watched it till last year, and probably at least a decade, if not longer. But rewatching it with your kid, it's great, and you also realize if you just fast forward to the house break-in at either New York or in Chicago, that's really the whole movie, the rest is just fluff.
Also, we watched the documentary series. I don't remember what the name of it is on Netflix, where they go back and they look at like movies that made us. I think is the name of it, and they talk about how they made Home Alone, and it's such a fascinating story because for something that almost didn't come together, that came together, but in the weirdest way. And like they used like a high school gymnasium and the pool for the basement scenes. Like it's kind of cool how it all came together. I haven't heard one of them from you yet, though, which is Love Actually, which I think is one of your favorite all-time movies.
100%.
Where's that?
That's a must-watch, it's easily a must-watch.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, we agreed on one. No, Love Actually is one of my favorite holiday movies. I was in college when it came out. I remember seeing it in the movie theater. It was one of those original ones when doing the montage with all of the big actors who played smaller roles, and there were several competing storylines. I've always liked that, and I've liked how they show the intersectionality between all the stories right at the end. So here's a new one that we just started watching this year, or we watched it for the first time this year, and I'd be interested to see where you'd put this on your list. The Holiday Sitter.
Okay, so cute. I also, if you're going to talk about that, you have to open up the Pandora's box, which is Jonathan Bennett, whether he and Lindsay Lohan are duking it out to see who the Queen of Christmas is. Queen is intentionally used there because they seem to be in competition. Although I think there might be some other contenders, but
There's only one queen. It's Jonathan Bennett.
and he's adorable. I just finished the Groomsmen series too. There's 3 of them, and it follows 3 friends through their love story. Such cute movies. I really enjoyed them. I was watching Heidelberg Holiday or Holiday in Heidel. Anyways, he's actually in that. He does a cameo appearance where he's walking through one of the booths. So
That
you
new
never
movie
know.
you just put in the consistently watching whose name you can't remember, so I'm going to go ahead and categorize that as a meh.
But no, you get him. He does the Cherry Lane series, the Keller
Wait,
Christmas
you
Vacation.
can't hold on,
He's
but
like
you first one that Jonathan in my must watch every year.
meh. He was in all of them. It follows the same family that currently owns the house.
Well, the first one that we watched,
So
whatever
if
the
they're must
first
watches, he can't see. He's making fun of me, but he can't remember who's
the, you are right, but the first one that they watched where they start talking about their adoption story, and maybe it's because they are
that's
talking
true.
about an adoption story, right? The second one is now that they have adopted the kid, but that first one where oh my gosh, it's a Christmas Eve emergency child placement, and it's their new house, and it's friends, and it's family, and there's while Lizzie wasn't an emergency placement, it was a last minute, as you heard from episode 3. It was a last minute phone call, and the journey and the leap that everybody took. Like I connect with it, so that's on my must watch every year,
That's fair.
and that's why. Let's see.
There was another new one that I flagged for this year, which is the Holiday Exchange, which is basically the holiday but the gay version.
Oh, that was good.
It was really
That
good.
was cute.
It's the same, formulaic,
It
like,
is
blah,
literally the
but it's
holiday the gay
so
version.
cute. It's such a sweet movie,
It is literally, yeah,
and the guys are cute, which is always
that is
nice.
also true. Kind of wrapping up here our holiday movie segment, which I really like. I love the way we did this. Thank you so much for when we were putting this show together for this week for suggesting this. We love watching our holiday movies. We typically do it sitting around a fire, usually with a glass of wine, a bottle, sometimes
2.
bottles of wine, usually on the weekend, not when we got to get up and go to our normal full-time jobs during the day. But before we move on too much, so we've watched a couple episodes, and I really want to go back and finish it. Is Finding Mr. Christmas worth it?
Going back to objectifying men, and apparently they just make them shirtless the entire time, I'm here for it.
Well, what else? What else can you say?
Oh, and, I do have a Christmas present from Papa that the television watching gods are giving me for Christmas. The, next season of Emily in Paris just came out, the 5th season, and season 4 of Bridgerton is coming out next month. So, Jason won't watch either of those shows with me. I think he's missing out. I'm really excited because, I love them.
We all have our things, right? So we're moving on from our holiday movies. We're moving on from our holiday episode, but we can't end the show without talking about what has been on the big bad gay agenda this week.
So first, I want to talk about Admiral Rachel Levine. NPR reports that the Department of Health and Human Services recently changed the official portrait of Rachel, the first openly transgender person confirmed by the Senate. Instead of using her affirmed name, they replaced it with her previous name, a practice known as deadnaming. So let's just say this again for the cheap sheets in the back. Her name is Rachel, Rachel. So just digging in a little bit more, LGBT advocates and former officials have called this move an act of erasure and bigotry. While Rachel herself didn't comment on the specifics, she called it petty and said she's staying focused on public health and equity. This is just a recent example of the hurtful and spiteful cruelty that is being perpetrated against our trans siblings, highlighting the ongoing political tension and rollback of transgender protections under the current administration.
So, and here's the thing. Dead naming isn't just a political issue. It's something that can happen in our homes, especially during the holidays when families come together. For trans folks, hearing an old name can feel like it is invalidating, it is painful, it makes them feel unloved and unwelcomed in the space that they are in. So, as we head into the city, let's talk about how we can make our celebrations more affirming and inclusive. And I've got 5 pieces of advice for you. First, use the correct name and pronouns. And if using different pronouns is something new to you, I'd refer you back to a previous episode. There are guides that we shared with people about how you can practice. Second, if someone slips up, correct them kindly and then move on. This is one of those situations where to create change, we will get more bees with honey than you will with sour milk. And so if someone says the incorrect name, correct them, but do it kindly unless it gets to the point where you believe that they are doing it intentionally. Third, and this is for all of us, anyone who's LGBTQ or a straight ally or really just a decent human being, create safe spaces. Check in privately if you notice someone feeling uncomfortable or excluded or left out. And then fourth, lead by example. Your consistency sets the tone for everyone. And finally, if you happen to make a mistake, as we are all prone to do, acknowledge it, correct it, apologize for it, and keep going. Don't over apologize, don't explain, and don't make it about you. In our other piece of the big bad gay agenda is about our favorite Secretary of Defense or Secretary of War, as he would be preferred to call, former Fox News host turned Trump era Pentagon official Pete Hegseth joined his former boss in urging the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals to allow the continued dismissal of HIV positive service members from the U.S. military, arguing that their medical needs limit deployability, incur extra costs, which he doesn't mind when we're blowing up boats in Venezuela, and restrict blood donation, framing it as a rational policy choice.
Critics say the arguments ignore modern medicine. In a landmark August 2024 ruling, U.S. District Judge Leonie Brinkma found that asymptomatic, undetectable HIV positive personnel are fully capable of serving, including deployment, citing scientific advancements that render the military stance outdated. Advocates from Lambda Legal, the ACLU, and the Center for HIV Law and Policy labeled the policy discriminatory, pointing out that peer nations like the UK, France, and Australia allow HIV positive individuals to serve, provided that their viral loads are managed. This legal clash pits entrenched military bureaucracy against evolving public health standards, raising pressing questions about stigma, equality, and the true cost, both financially and moral, of excluding undetectable HIV positive Americans from service.
So you may be wondering, why are we drawing attention to these issues? They're dark, and they're frightening, and they are. And is it because we're activists? Yes, it is. And we're proud to be a family of activists that has a core set of values and moral beliefs that guide our daily life. But it's about more than activism. It's bigger than activism. This is a profound shift in our national values, and democracy is slipping. Division is being weaponized. It's turning neighbor against neighbor, even within the same communities and movements. Racism, fear, and you name the phobia are being used to fracture the public. And if and it's on all of us to stop that. Knowledge, truth, and clarity are our best tools. If you object to what you see happening, act. If you care about the people around you, act. If your values call you to stand up for human dignity, act. If you believe in a pluralistic, free, and diverse America, for God's sake, act. Because when the voices try to push back into the shadows, we respond with truth, visibility, and love.
As Christians, we choose to take this stance openly and unapologetically. I've heard the phrase, love the sinner, hate the sin, used to justify harm, but I reject it. Instead, I choose love, the believer, while challenging beliefs that wound, exclude, and divide. As we prepare for Christmas, let's find the courage to separate ourselves from interpretations of Christianity that judge and condemn. The birth of Christ was not about fear or exclusion. It's about love, openness, compassion, and radical hospitality. That message doesn't push people away, it draws them in. And that, my friends, is the reason for the season.
So before we close, as is our tradition with our friends, is what did Lizzie teach us this week? Nate?
We were just at a Christmas party, and we decided to take Lizzie along with us. Kept her out a little past bedtime. We thought
It
she
was
would,
it was a Friday.
yeah, we thought she would have fun, and she did. She danced. She ran around with our friends, our adult friends who enjoyed entertaining a little girl. And when we left, we were putting her in a car, and she looked at me and she goes, "Papa, that was a lot for me." And I was thinking back to something that Kelly said in our interview last week about how, like, the soft landing, right? And when she picks her daughter up, kind of giving her space to decompress at the end of the day. Just thinking about that as I was reflecting on this situation with Lizzie, because she was so sweet and she goes, "Papa, that was a lot for me." And I was, I'm like, I always say this, I'm so impressed by our kid. She was gracious and graceful, and nobody there knew that she was overwhelmed and exhausted. And, and I'm also proud of her because she knew her body. And when we left, she knew to say, "That was a lot for me and I'm tired." And that means she's listening to herself. And I think, like, you can't much ask for much more and from a kid than that. What about you, Daddy?
I think I learned how fast. I mean, you always know it, and you hear the saying that the days are long and the years are short when it comes to parenting and raising a kid, and they are. I think what stood out for me is, so last week Lizzie had her dance recital, and a couple days prior to that, I was down in our basement. I was roughhousing and playing with our kid, and I got her to show me a preview, a little bit of her dance concert. And then it was time. She needed to finish picking up the basement, and daddy needed to go upstairs to let her do that because if I'm there, I'm just going to be a distraction. And she ran and she grabbed my leg and she did the pretend to push me over thing. And she looked at me and said, Daddy, I'm getting bigger. I'm only going to want to play with you for so much longer. And I was probably completely being manipulated by my kid into then helping her pick up the basement because, yeah, I played with her for another 5 minutes. We didn't get the basement picked up before dinner. But you know what? The world didn't end. The sun still set, right? And I was reminded by my own child to cherish every moment you have with your kids because they are the best part of my everyday.
Here, here. So, as we wrap up, happy holidays from us to all of you. Hanukkah is just ending when this is coming out, and Kwanzaa kicks off on the 26th. So, from us to you, happy holidays. Please be safe. Enjoy your time. Unplug if you can.
And that's episode 5. And so, to those who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. To those who celebrate any other holiday, happy holidays to you. We love you. And as is our family motto, onward.